shot, so who wants to take me and Alex on? Okay. Then, Casey and Michael, by the power vested in me by a thing I did for free on the internet, I now pronounce you forever bros. You may now make out in front of your collected friends and family a little bit.
Yep, that's me on my wedding day. We had our ceremony and reception at the Orange Peel in Asheville, North Carolina, where we had gone to see Die Antwoord years before, when we actually, lived in Asheville. For this big day, we flew back from our new home in Las Vegas, partly so we could have this awesome venue, and also so all of our friends and family wouldn't have to travel across the damn country. We're cool that way. Of course, none of this would have happened had I not met Casey. That's her, looking derpy. Let me back up, like way back. I'm not sure what the year is, maybe 2004, 2005, mid-teens for me. I obsessively read through Leonard Maltin's movie guide, wherein he describes this movie called The Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now, I'd never heard of it. My mother had seen fit to let me watch RoboCop at 6 years old, but Rocky Horror had simply never come up. Reading about it, about the sex and the 50 sci-fi nods and the strange, mysterious Frankenfurter character, I kept coming back to this review, and well, I just had to have it. One day, my mom and I are at the mall, and there it is in some store, and I ask if I can get it, and she buys it for me. There it was, the Rocky Horror Picture Show on DVD, and this is the DVD that was released in, I think, like 2000. And I watch it that night, and I'm transfixed. It's like I'm watching something I shouldn't be. It was off limits. Even with that blurb in Maltin's book, I had no idea what I was in for, but I knew one thing. I knew it was special. I just didn't know how special. And as I watched it again and again, the overt sexuality and wild nature of Frankenfurter stayed with me.
How did it happen?
Between his ghoulish appearance and aggressive hedonism, there was something uniquely beautiful. Sure, he was technically a murderer and a rapist, but if you look at his character, if you look at how perfectly he encapsulates the mindset of the outsider trying to just be himself and do anything he can to reach his ideal to the very end, it's captivating. And it's all perfectly expressed in that one song.
Don't dream it, be it.
Don't dream it, be it. Those words stuck with me. The year is 2006, and I am 16 years old. I'm a fucking asshole. Partly because I'm 16, but also because through years of being bullied and having what I'll later learn is near crippling social anxiety, I'm completely unable to properly express myself. Now, maybe that's why I chose theater as my primary passion all the way back in the 8th grade, and perhaps why I was so dependent on the wonders of film and literature rather than brave the choppy waters of social ladder climbing. Or maybe I was just a narcissist who wanted attention. It's literally anyone's guess. Anyway, it's 2006, and I am an understudy in a production of Brighton Beach Memoirs, which is a play by Neil Simon, and it's about, like, family and junk. I'm actually the understudy for two separate characters, and to say I was completely overwhelmed and out of my element is an understatement. Again, I was 16 and therefore a dumb little asshole. In the end, though, I didn't get much out of this production. I never actually performed, partly because it was glaringly obvious that I was definitely not going to get everything down. The only notable aspect of this whole endeavor, and what makes it so lucky that I didn't turn down the understudy offer that really I didn't even want, was that I met Casey. We barely spoke to each other, and she thought I was a fucking prick, but again, we were 16. And after the production, we went our separate ways and really showed no signs of ever meeting again. There was no attraction, there was nothing. It was just, we were two people in a play. We were acquaintances at best. Now, flash forward to 2007, or 2008 maybe, and I have a terrible time at my first Rocky Horror Shadowcast production. It's in Charleston, at a movie theater that closed down not too long after. And it was performed by a bunch of folks I would actually get to know a few years later. I had brought some girl I was into at the time, but she really just used me for my car, which wound up being a pretty constant thing for high school me. Anyway, I see Rocky Horror, and several years after seeing it for the first time on DVD, and it piques my interest, even if, much like my first time meeting Casey, it didn't exactly go the way you'd expect. Flash forward again, and it's 2008 or 2009, and I'm in that same Shadowcast. I go see them, they mention auditions, and wham bam, I'm in. Honestly, I don't remember much about the audition process beyond it being in Joyce's cramped living room. Joyce, she usually played Magenta at that time, and she was fun. And actually, fun fact, I wound up taking over as Magenta for a long time. I was Magenta for at least a year, and I looked good as Magenta. I had at least one girl come up and say that I had better legs than her, and I was like, damn straight, girl. The director of the group was TJ, this guy. And he sadly, he passed away several years ago while we were still living in Charleston. He was amazing. He played Eddie basically every show and was incredibly dedicated to the Shadowcast, which at the time was the only one in South Carolina. Like me, he had a lot of issues, but he was fucking dedicated. He was pretty much always in bad health. He never had much in the way of money. He didn't take care of himself, which, but he persisted, and he made the group what it was until his dying day. And I miss him. So sometime in 2010, I had graduated from playing Magenta to being Rocky, which wound up being the role I played the absolute most. I did not have the body for it, but damn it, I didn't let that stop me from prancing around, mostly naked, taking pictures, and being generally extra, before anyone knew what extra meant. Something about the near anonymity of playing a character gave me carte blanche to just toss out my social anxieties. Not entirely, of course, but I often had to psych myself up beforehand. But by doing this every month again and again, it gave me so much more confidence to just be me. I wasn't just dreaming it, I was being it. I wanted to perform, I wanted to be special and to be seen. I wanted to break out of my shell, and motherfucker, I did it. I still deal with social anxiety, but now, rather than never breaking out of my shell, I can usually find it within myself to get into a groove and stay in it. Those moods can swing back and forth, but generally, I can inhabit that fun Michael character and keep at it. Anyway, in July of 2011, I was playing Rocky. It was the first Friday of the month, and I was doing my thing, taking pictures of the folks in the lobby at the Terrace Theater. We were doing punk Rocky, and I didn't really have any good idea for a punk aesthetic, so I did Bowie, which, fuck it, people liked it. Here's me trying to look hot. Here's me and my best friend Cheryl, who always played the perfect Columbia, and here's me with Casey. She had recognized me before I recognized her and said, "Of course, I know the guy in the gold Speedo." And we took a picture, and honestly, I didn't think much of it. Just a quick snap, some light catching up, and that was that. She went into the theater, I did my thing, and the show went on like normal. Then she sent me a Facebook message, and we started talking, and I won't bore you with the details, but long story short, we started dating, and before long, she moved in, and minus one brief period where she had to move back in with her parents, we stayed together to this very day. So minus a couple weeks, we were always together, and always had been together. We also adopted this little asshole, whom we dubbed Ace the Bat Hound, and he was my firstborn. She was the one who really pushed for us to attend Dragon Con in Atlanta for the first time, the virtual version of which is happening this weekend. That was another life choice that went very similarly to Rocky. I went, I had a good time, and before I knew it, I was attending as a volunteer, working for DragonCon TV, and producing segments annually. I even spearheaded the DragonCon wrestling segments that became favorites among many, and even led to me interviewing Austin Creed, aka WWE's Xavier Woods, multiple times. So that was pretty cool. Eventually, due to a very long story about the Book of Mormon and an Atlanta snowstorm, we wound up moving to Asheville, North Carolina. Now, we didn't live there that long in the grand scheme of things, but it was an eye-opening experience. I got into an art gallery, I met a ton of new friends, I tried some odd new professions, I joined a shadowcast there, and I got to rent movies from Orbit DVD in West Asheville, which is probably the thing I miss most about that town, honestly. I'm sorry to my friends, but I mean, that place was fucking rad. In 2015, Casey got a job offer in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, I'd never been to Las Vegas. Hell, I hadn't even been to the West Coast in my adult life. But in this moment, I was working as a zipline guide and an ice cream maker. And frankly, completely changing my set of circumstances seemed like a good idea. Optimists would call it a fresh start, and pessimists call it a foolish mistake that I would surely regret. Now, I'm not going to lie, it took a bit for me to figure my shit out in Las Vegas. I tried making a horror movie about fast food vloggers that, well, it failed miserably. I worked for a really scammy nutrition company. I got fired from the Born Legacy production office, and I adopted 2 asshole cats, would bring in the grand total to 4 fucking animals in the house. But eventually, things got better. I found my footing, and I made everything work. Now, drawing on my love of cult cinema, I partnered with one of my best friends, Sean Doyle, and together we wrote and directed our first feature film, Fatal Future. It's an homage to Neil Breen, and well, frankly, reviews continue to be mixed. I love it, though. I got married, as previously noted. We bought a house, and in October of 2019, we had a son. And during that whole baby-making process, I also made my second feature film, The Head, based on my love of shot-on-VHS horror movies. And right now, I'm working on the Blu-ray release for that sucker, and I'm happy to note that reviews have been far better thus far. But before all of that, I wound up as the photographer for the amazing Millennium Fandom Bar, where I've met so many friends, many of whom helped make The Head a reality. In Fatal Future, actually, we shot in the lounge, and my boss Alex played the doomed bartender Francois, who generally steals the show. Everybody loves him. And even though that gig's kind of in limbo right now due to, it's the best job I've ever had. I can't wait to go back to it. So, yeah, started off pretty fucking rough, but eventually I got my shit together, trusted in my own vision, and made a couple dreams come true. Sure, I'm still super poor, and basically no one knows who I am, but that's okay. The important thing is that I follow through on my dreams, and that's something that, while challenging, I've managed to do to some degree. So, how much did Rocky Horror change my life? That's basically, that's this video's titled, that's fucking monologue is all about. Well, if I hadn't watched it, I probably wouldn't have ended up as some vanilla accountant slaving away for the corporate overlords, but there's a good chance I wouldn't be as free-spirited and in tune with myself without it. I wouldn't have gotten reacquainted with the love of my life on that special first Friday of the month, and I wouldn't be in Las Vegas where I found my favorite job and wound up making 2 films that, while maybe not groundbreaking or special to most people, remain special to me and remain special to a lot of the people that made them happen. And of course, without my aforementioned wife, I wouldn't have my beautiful son. And really it all stems from 5 words belted out by a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania. Don't dream it. Be it. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this episode. Especially thanks to Brian, aka All That Is Man, for pitching in and sponsoring this month's episode through the Patreon. If you'd like to become a patron, please check out that link below. I love people who give me money to do weird shit like this. And of course, if you enjoy me talking about musicals, maybe more than I did in this video, then you can check out the other episodes in this series in the playlist. It should be in like the side thing or however the fuck YouTube does it now. And yeah, if you want to become a patron, that link's in the description. Also my social media, so if you want to follow me on any of those evil hell sites, then you can do that as well. And yeah, until next time, go watch a movie.